What's going on, everyone? I'm streaming again, which is nice. And to the people that watch it, I kind of don't want to take any credit for this, what we're about to react to. This is Mckinley's story of Jack Shorty, her relationships, whatnot. So I don't want to take any credit to all the links down below, even the original link. So I'm going to give credit to her. I don't want to take credit because this is not my story. And I will not say any of this or not talk really about it because of it. Just to let you know. So, and yeah, about it. And yes, I'm going to stream more this time, but not on, because if you weren't, I wasn't really there this year to stream. I'm sorry about to you guys, but you know how content creators, music stars are not, they're busy all the time. So, and this is like my busy week to get you guys out there and for for more future content, you know about it. So yeah. So um yeah, let's get right along with the, you know, the thing. And this will be on my podcast. FYI, so okay. Let's do this. I mean, can't believe that we're about to do this, but you know, you're there, so let's get with it.
Was any of it true?
He was amazing. And I want people to know that, like, he was so different in the beginning. The first time you're seeing this lifestyle that he's showing you, the clubbing, the partying, the yacht, like the everything, and then it was a lot different behind closed doors. That was the beginning of the end.
You called the cops on me in my own fucking house. I can't believe I dated that bitch for the past 2 years, bro.
That is the tactic he used on you throughout the entire relationship.
Yo, it's going, her tears going right between her tits. Look at that.
What happened to the guy that made me feel safe in the beginning? When was the beginning of the end? Like, when did everything change? It's okay. As you guys can see from the intro of this video, this is not like one of my regular podcasts. Before we start this podcast, I do want to say there will be no monetization off of this podcast. There will be no AdSense. I do not want to make a dime off of Mckinley's story. It is not my story to tell. I will not be speaking for a lot of this podcast because I feel as if it's not my place to speak. And we will be partnering with an organization to be able to help women who don't have the resources to help themselves. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to one of my bestest friends in the whole wide world. So without further ado,
We are not officially partnering with any organization, but we have a few that are to the cause in the description of the video.
I want to introduce you to one of my bestest friends in the whole wide world, Miss McKinley Richardson.
Hello.
As you guys can see from the title of the video, this will be about your past relationship.
Yeah, guys. Yeah. Grab a snack. get cozy, and yeah, I will. Let me get cozy actually. Okay, one sec, guys. Let me get cozy. Grab snack. Get cozy, guys. You know what to do. You know. It's about time, guys. For us. Get what we want. So I'm about to change here. I'm about to get cozy because, well, we got a long podcast at night ahead from us, and we don't want for us to be that. Yeah, well, how am I gonna put it this way? For us to be like, yeah. Hey, mother, where's that? Mom, why did I eat that? They wonder, why ain't I cozy? Yeah. So, that's why we are doing this. And again, this is not my time to speak. I'm gonna say some words out, but not really, because this is not gonna be a useful podcast. So I think so. Yep, I'm cozy now. Okay, let me change it up a bit. Okay, what's up, guys? I'm cozy now, and yeah, so this is not our original podcast. Again, just shout out before we continue and go on, but I want to say that if you haven't been following along with Jack Doherty, this is her side of the story. I know Jack Doherty's like a troublemaker. We all get that. A lot of us hate him because he pulls little girls, whatnot. He get drunk because this is not right. So this is her side story. Let the video begin. Okay. Hope you got snacks. And that keep going on
with Mr. Jack Doherty. And I want to give you the opportunity to be able to completely tell your truth and your story. And I just want to say, like, I'm beyond, grateful that you are willing to come on my podcast and share it with everybody. And I want you to know that I love you so much.
I love you.
And don't make me cry.
I know, I'm already.
But let's start at the beginning. How did you meet him? How did you meet Jack Doherty?
So I was living part-time in Vegas and LA as well. I was doing work, modeling, and I loved social media because I moved around my entire life. Social media was my avenue of making friends, and I had many friends in LA. One of them being Sam Frank, who is mutual friends, with Jack.
Yeah.
So we ended up talking. I was in a very vulnerable state at this time. I didn't have a lot of friends because I had just moved to Vegas, and I went to high school in Seattle, so I knew nobody. So social media was my avenue, like fully. I had nothing else other than that. And she was kind enough to let me into her apartment and stay at her place. This is in LA.
Okay.
Yeah. I was making money. I was, brand deals, very wishy-washy. I would have, a day where I would make $1,000, and then, other days it would be
Nice.
lower. And I had, some sort of independence, but it was still something I was working towards. Social media was something that I've always been passionate about. When I was little, I was always filming videos. I was creating skits. My brother and my family were always in my little movies I made. So this was something I was extremely passionate about. So being there, I was working, I was modeling for brands, I was working with different photographers, and she ends up coming back to her apartment. She was out of town at the time when I was staying. And she came in and she basically told me, hey, my friends from Florida are in LA, and they were wondering if you would like to film a video, a social media video. At the time, I didn't know who Jack was. I didn't know who any of them were. But I took that as an opportunity. I was like, you know what, like, I'll film a little video, like, sounds fun. I ended up going to the house that they were staying in the hills, and they were very inviting. I mean, the girls, they were there and they were talking to me. His employees were talking to me, but Jack wasn't really, involved in any of our conversations. He was more so, when I remember him in LA, he was just in his phone constantly, separated from everybody. But like, I loved the people around him, and they were very, very inviting. I had great conversations with them. So I was having a good time. The videos that we filmed were quick and easy. At the time, I also didn't really understand the whole like OnlyFans aspect of it. I assumed, people have their content houses, and that was something that was very popular at that time, especially. So I was assuming, this is a group of people, they're from Florida and they're having so much fun, like as friends, they film videos together. That's their way of making their income. Until, I realized that the way they did make their money was through OnlyFans. And that was something that I didn't judge them for. I was, aware that they were doing that, but that was something I knew that I didn't want to do for myself. So, my parents were worried about me involving myself with people that, do that, because you are who you surround yourself with. And like at that time, my parents, I'm from Georgia, so very conservative. I grew up conservative. I grew up in church. So that was something that would be brought to me through other social media managers, even when I was underage. I was 16, and I would have certain social media managers and people talk to me about not OnlyFans, but different types of platforms that I could post on and get away with it when I was younger. So that was something I was very, very negative opinions. I didn't want to do it. So I told my parents, I was like, don't worry about it. Like, I have a good head on my shoulders. I'm not that type of person that's like, oh, I'm going to do this and then do this completely different thing. I was very, that's just how I felt about it. But his employees, they would come up to me while I was there, and they said, hey, would you ever do OnlyFans? Like, you would kill it. And I was like, no, absolutely not. That's something I promised myself I wouldn't do, no matter the amount of money, nothing. I just wouldn't do it.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Yeah. So were his employees, like, were all the girls that were hanging out there, like Sam and I don't know, maybe
Sam, Grace, and Michelle were there.
So they made it clear that they managed these girls, or they
did not to me. It was very like unspoken, but like I kind of put the pieces together when I was there. I was just kind of like assuming that they had OnlyFans girls that were friends with them and that they filmed with them, not that they were involved in making money with them. I didn't know anything about that at the time, especially like OnlyFans management. I had no idea there was even a thing. Like, I thought you just made an OnlyFans and people with social media would make money, but I didn't know there was a whole back end of things. But instantly when I shut it down, the whole OnlyFans talk with his employees, I was like, just don't bring that up to me again. Even Sam, my friend at the time, was like, don't even like, don't ask my friend those questions, because she knew how I was. And like, she was like, that's actually offensive. Like, don't ask her anything about OnlyFans because she's not doing it. And they didn't ask me anymore, but they were like, well, let me know. Like, let me know if you want to. Again, at this time, I'm like, absolutely not. I ended up going back home to Vegas after that week of being there. I was hanging out with them every day for that week. I didn't stay at the house, but I was just hanging out with all of them. And they told me that they loved me and that they want me to come to Florida. I wanted to go, but at the time especially, it was tight. Like I was like, I just went to LA. I spent a lot of money on Ubers, on food. Like I remember telling them, like, I need to get my money up first. Like I need to go home and work and just stay home. But maybe like one day I'll come to Florida, because they were very, very sweet to me. Like the girls especially, I was like, oh my gosh, like finally I have like a good group of people around me. They're fun. They film videos. It's what I'm passionate about. Like maybe we can like be a good friend group, because it was nothing like, usually, you know how like people are in this industry. It's like, they're not super inviting. Right. They're very like standoffish. And that was absolutely not the case with these people. I end up going back home, and while I'm home in Vegas, I start getting texts, not from Jack, but the people that worked for him, like his cameraman and the girls especially. They would FaceTime me in the club and be like, you need to be here. Like, I miss you so much. Like, how are you? I miss you. And I remember telling my parents, I was like, these people are so sweet to me. Like, they're so nice. I want to go visit them. It was spring break. I had never been to Miami. I'd never been to the side. And I was excited because they just kept saying how much fun we would have. And I had never been to a bar or a club in my life. And I was 20 years old. So ends up DMing me because I was telling them basically, you know, like, I want to really bad, but I don't want to go down there and have to, like, you know, figure out a way to eat or like,
yeah. You knew it was going to be expensive.
I knew it was going to be expensive. And I also didn't really know what I was going to be walking into. I was like, I don't know where I'm going to stay. Like, I can't afford a place to stay. So I was asking, you know, Michelle, I was like, the only way I'm staying is if you're there and I'm staying in the same room as you, because I didn't want to go to a random house with random people being there. And I don't know, I was just uncomfortable. Especially knowing, you know, the whole OnlyFans aspect of it. I was like, I would like a girl there to be with me, you know.
Especially given the last time guys asked you if you wanted to start an OnlyFans. So it was kind of like,
yeah,
when they're texting you, that goes on in your head, like, what?
Exactly.
Are the girls also staying in the house? It's a valid question.
And that's what I was under the impression of, especially going to LA. I was like, there's such a tight-knit group. I feel like they probably have a house all together and that they live together. So I texted Michelle. I basically just wanted to make sure that she would be at the house and that we could stay in the same room, because I didn't really know these people. I hung out with them for a week, but still, like, I just wanted to make sure the girl that I was talking to the most would be there, because, you know, I didn't want to be alone, especially in that space. But later on, I found out that when I had texted her that I wanted to stay with her, she sent that to Jack, and then Jack said, the only bed available is mine. But at this time, Jack and I were not even on talking terms. We didn't even have each other's phone number. This came out later on terms. We didn't even have each other's phone number. But at this time, and then Jack said, the only bed available is mine. But at this time...
What? Okay, so... Michelle asked... Okay. He asked me to stay with her. Okay, and then she said, only bed available is my bed though. Okay. Okay, so I see that.
Jack and I were not even on talking terms. We didn't even have each other's phone number. This came out later on. One of his ex-employees that left him, he actually posted it. And I would have never known, like, he said that he was, like, interested in me sharing a bed with him after not even having, like, any conversation. Yeah.
It's that time again. Wayfair's Black Friday sale is back. Right now, get up to 80% off area.
I don't know.
First of all, one, who says that? Because you're not even, like, talking to the girl.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Two, why you found out through social media? Like, why wouldn't Michelle just tell you?
I don't know. There were many things, you know, I feel like I do ask myself certain things, like, why didn't people step in or say, hey, this happened? But also I do know, like, the power and control he has over people. So I honestly have no ill will towards anyone really in that house. And in that moment, you know, like I wouldn't have known his control over anybody because I wasn't involved in the situation. Like I didn't know the dynamics. I didn't know if he was close to Michelle. I didn't know, you know, if Michelle was closer to him than me. So
I mean, yeah, I guess she just met you, so I guess she didn't need to like owe you anything. So what happened? So you flew there?
I did. So I said that I couldn't afford to get there. So he ended up DMing me since he didn't have my phone number and I was in contact with the rest of the people in the house. He was like, do you really want to come to Florida? And I was like, I do, but I just, you know, I don't have the money. I don't have, you know, I want to, but I just feel like I can't right now. And then he told me I won't have to worry about anything at all, even like food. So, you know, I don't want to be that type of person to like be, you know, just dependent on somebody. But I also knew, you know, like I have money. I'm able to get myself Uber Eats if I need to. I'll just go for a week. And I told my parents I was going to go. They were worried. They really were, because they were like, Mckinley, you don't even know these people. Like, and I was like, trust me, like they're so sweet. They don't try to get me on OnlyFans. Like they just want me there. Now that I've left the situation and it's been so long, I now realize that I don't know if they were looking for true friends. And I think it was almost a business opportunity, you know, for me to start OnlyFans. And I don't want to think that, but that's not how I felt in that moment. I felt like these people genuinely cared about me. And that's what was really, you know, I was gravitating towards that. So I end up, he buys me a plane ticket. I leave a few days after and I get to Florida. It's my first time in Miami. And when I got to the house, there was only one person there and it was a guy. And I had talked to him like a little bit previously, but it was nothing like what I was expecting it to be. I was expecting to walk into, you know, open arms and people excited to see me. And it wasn't that. It was just very confusing. And I was very uncomfortable with certain things that had happened. I don't really want to talk about that. But I was very uncomfortable. I distanced myself until someone got home to the house, because there were no girls there. Jack wasn't even there. It was his employee.
Where were they?
I think they were getting alcohol, I'm pretty sure, because they were planning to go to Rock Bar, which is this club. But I locked myself in my room, waiting for somebody to come home. I was, you know, just chilling.
Did you text them like, hey, I'm here? Like,
I texted Michelle and said, hey, where are you at? And they ended up coming home not too long after that and just saying, we're going to Rock Bar, like, get ready, like, we're going to the club. And I was like, okay, like, what's Rock Bar? Because I had no idea. I remember telling them, you know, I've never been to a club or a bar in my life, and that was something that all the guys said was really hot. They were like, that's so hot. You've never been to a club or a bar, like, we're taking your bar virginity. Like, things like that. Yeah, I never drank publicly. Like, that was something that was kind of scary to me, especially in that moment. Like, I had drank before, obviously, like in high school, and you'd have parties here and there, but this is something like completely different. But we end up getting ready, going to Rock Bar, and for that entire week, it was just so fun, and it was positive, and OnlyFans wasn't brought up to me. It was just, you know, all of us drinking, and for the first time in my life, I drank heavily. And the same goes for everybody. I think, you know, we were all intoxicated. I think for that
like
whole.
Also, maybe when you go into a situation, and like, I'm not saying it applies to everyone. Like, I'm not saying this applies to everybody, but in a common situation, you drink.
Let me just say something here. Before we continue this video, if you're a girl that wants to do OnlyFans and whatnot, I advise you that rethink that honestly, because before you know what is, I'm not trying to stop you or anything else. I just want you to rethink your decisions. on the type of things that type of things that will get yourself into trouble and yeah. So just put that out there. Back to the video.
To let loose to become better friends.
Absolutely.
You
It was the
know what I'm saying?
icebreaker.
Like, it was easy. It's easier to take a couple drinks, a couple shots, and then have a fucking conversation
Yeah.
than it is to just go to a bar and be like, so, like, last time I saw you, get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, obviously everyone was going to get.
Yeah, it was definitely the icebreaker to everything, and what I believe was the icebreaker with Jack and I, because we didn't have any conversations really before that. He was very quiet and like to himself. But once we started drinking, and that whole week that I was there, and he was, we were on yachts every day and going to dinners and then going to the club after dinner, and it was this repetitive thing that we kept doing. And every time Jack would drink, he would just, he would kiss me, and then he would say, like, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. I know you're my wife because you don't do OnlyFans. He would tell me, I know you're my wife because my wife would never do OnlyFans. So that kind of stuck with me. I was like, he's supportive of me, and like maybe I could just be like a supportive girlfriend, and not do the whole OnlyFans thing. But at this time, I didn't know his involvement. I had no idea. Not at all. He was very private with everything. Even to this day, I don't know.
Was he like, so this whole yacht thing, like, is he, so you found him only talking to you when you guys were fucked up?
Yes, because we were drunk every day. Like, when I tell you, like, I haven't been through that, and even like now, like, I could never keep up with that. I don't know if it was because it was even like every day. Like, when I tell you, like, I haven't been through that, and even like like when I tell you, like,
Adriel X McLaren.
I haven't been through that, and even like now, like, I could never keep up with that. I don't know if it was because it was so new for me, and it was also kind of new for him. I had learned because his brother and his parents would confide in, people that were closer to him, because I was new. They didn't really know me that well, but they were just really worried about his drinking, because they were like, that has never been a problem with him. Why is he doing it now? And I was just as confused, because I'm like, well, I'm not like this, so I'm not bringing this side out of him because I don't drink. I don't do any of this type of stuff. But he would get so blacked out drunk, like to the point of like not knowing where he is, forgetting everything, passing out. So anyways, I realized at this point, it's time to go home. I need to go home because I had a prior obligation for work, and it was going to Coachella. I was going with a brand. They flew me out, and it was my favorite brand. I had worked with them like a few times before that, and I told Jack what I was doing. I told him I was going to Coachella, and he tried to get me not to go at first. He was like, why can't you just cancel it? And I was like, well, this is something like, I really want to go to Coachella. I've never been before. A brand is flying me out. I'm working for them. I signed contracts. Like, I was really excited for it. I was pumped. But he just was like, I don't want you to leave. I want you to be here. I want you to be here.
So did you guys, like, would you say, like, you guys are talking now? Like, after, like, getting drunk, like, you guys would kiss? Would you wake up and be, like flirting with each other?
Not sober. It was the really weird situation. I feel like he was, we would drink every day, but then, he would take me to dinner, but he would be in his phone, kind of like in and out of, the conversations. But I was just like, well, maybe he's just shy. Maybe he's quiet, because everyone around me is telling me he really likes you. Like, I can tell he really, really likes you. And, as this is happening, I'm in the front seat of his car. We're, sharing a bed, and we had never done anything at all, and I kind of respected that. I was like, it's hard to find a guy, especially at this age, that doesn't try to do something with me. I've been used to like guys that like are very attracted to just doing something, and I think that's why
like just very sexual
attraction, and that was something that was a lot different. And I was like, well, maybe I can start to get to know his more emotional side. And it was like a friendship. It started out with a friendship, but also at the same time, when we would drink, he would confess his feelings and he would say how he felt about me. And I was like, well, you know, people would tell me, you know, his sober thoughts are his drunk words, you know? So, again, that was his way of, like, I guess, gaining confidence enough to talk to me. And then his friends, they would talk to me a lot more than he would directly, but they would always tell me what he would talk about, like saying, like, I'm so pretty and, like, all this stuff. So that was, like, my validation.
Obviously, you, like...
Yeah, I'm starting to like him.
Right.
But within that first week, something horrible happened to me.
Emergency Autoland activating.
I saw that.
Start saving early and get ready for the year's biggest deals at the Living Spaces Black Friday event. Find a variety of items.
He had a hometown friend there that he had known.
Staying with you.
Staying with
in the
us
house.
in the house.
Okay.
He had just came from New York because that's where Jack is from. They apparently had went to high school together. We went out this one night. Jack and I are obviously very together. Like, we were hugging on each other, all over each other. And I even remember his name's. I remember came up to both of us and was like, "You guys are so cute." Like, so. I remember each other, all over each other. And I even remember his name's. I remember came up to both of us and was like, "You guys are so cute." Like, so he obviously knew. He had a girlfriend that was in New York as well, but he was here for spring break and just to, you know, see Jack. He was very respectful, didn't really talk to me that much. We ended up going back home. We're, you know, drunk. I wasn't as drunk as I would normally be because Jack was really drunk. And I would also make sure he was okay and make sure everyone got home safe. He had his jewelry on, and I would even change him because he would be so intoxicated. So we end up going to bed. And I just remember waking up and his hand was in my pants. I was in the middle of, and his hand was and I just remember waking up and his hand was in my pants. I was in the middle of him and Jack.
Yeah, and like this is where part of that gets emotional there.
And I just felt so violated and scared. Like, I had never been through a situation like that ever. And not knowing who it was, like, I just woke up to a dark figure in the room next to me, laying in bed with his hands in my pants. I woke up freaking out. I pushed him away from me, and I'm like trying to tap Jack, and I'm like, Jack, and he's drunk as shit. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm pushing this guy off of me, and he doesn't care. I turned to the side, like closer to Jack, and I'm like trying to tap him. I'm basically on top of Jack in his back. And he just is saying, "I'm gonna fuck you right now." And I woke him up, and Jack woke up, and he was like, I was like, "Get him out of here." Like, I don't know what to do. And he's trying to hump me from the back while I'm talking to Jack, and Jack is awake. And Jack is like, "Bro, get out of here. Like, what are you doing? Go." And he was like, "I don't give a fuck. I'm fucking her right now." And I was just shaking. I was crying. I was in shock. And he just gets up and leaves the room. And I stayed awake that whole entire night. Like, and Jack went to bed. And I just was like, there's no way that fucking happened to me right now. Like, I don't know what to do. I wanted to go home, but I was like, well, in the morning, like, I guess, like, Jack will remember, like, you know, like, what happened.
Yeah.
We end up waking up, and he was ready to go out the door for breakfast, and this guy meets us there at breakfast, and I'm sitting across from him the entire time. I'm like, I couldn't even look at him.
You didn't talk to Jack about it in the morning?
I didn't talk to him in that moment. I didn't even see him that day.
No, you didn't talk to Jack. You didn't say, like, do you remember what happened?
Not at this point, because I thought he was aware. I thought Jack remembered what happened that night and that we would talk about it, and it wasn't brought up. And I was like, everyone was ready for breakfast. I'm around a group of people. He was just like in our living room. I also am like, I don't know what to say, to Jack, because like this is his hometown friend. This is horrible. Like, I can't believe he did that to me, and I can't believe he did that to Jack. Like, knowing that we were talking and I was laying in his friend's bed, he still came into the room and did that to me. So while we're at breakfast, I'm like holding my tongue. I'm like, I wish I talked to Jack before we fucking went to breakfast, because now I'm sitting across from this man who did this to me. I can't even, I was in my phone the entire time. I was like so uncomfortable trying to figure out a way to tell everyone I needed to leave without causing a scene, because when you're in that situation, you don't know it. You don't know that you'll act that way, but I was terrified to tell anyone. I felt ashamed, even though I had woken up with him doing that to me, and it was nothing in my control. I couldn't control that happening, but for some reason, I felt uncomfortable telling anybody. Yeah. But we ended up going back home, and I pulled Jack aside. I was like, I need to talk to you. And I was like, do you remember what happened last night? He was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And I was like, he did that to me. And I explained it in detail, and he was like, holy shit. He was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He was hugging me. He was, I was emotional, and I could tell he was getting emotional. And I just remember him going outside and telling Logan, who was his friend that he worked with, and all the guys that were there. And I don't know what conversation they had with him, but from that day forward, I had never seen ever again. Jack fully cut him off. He wasn't at the house at all. And it eventually came out later on, while Jack and I were dating for over a year, he had texted Jack and apologized and said that he was on drugs that night, and he was tested positive. And he said, I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over me. I was on drugs. I know. I don't know.
Fucking shit. Sick fuck.
I know. So that was a traumatic experience that I had that I had never been through. And Jack was the one person that was there that knew about it, that he was in the same bed as me, and he was there, and he comforted me. And I told him, I was like, I just want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm so uncomfortable.
Obviously.
And he was just like, no, you're amazing. I'm so sorry. this happened to you. I'm going to protect you. This will never happen ever again. You're safe with me. You can stay in my bed. You can be with me. You're going to be okay. So I think that was the initial, protective instincts that he showed me. And I guess the loyalty, even though he grew up with this person and knew him, and it was a childhood friend, even though he did something so fucked up, he was really there for me in that moment. So I ended up going back home and going to LA, and I went to Coachella. I still don't know what the whole situation was. I didn't tell my parents about the whole thing, because again, I felt disgusting. I didn't want to talk about it, and also I knew they were going to be like, you shouldn't be in that situation. But I knew that Jack felt different and would protect me now. That's what I, was assuming, that he would never let anything like that happen to me ever again.
I think too, maybe when something obviously that is so incredibly traumatic, to a point where you bonded over that.
We did.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's I'm not saying you bonded over the fact that it happened to you, but you bonded over the fact that he was one person that heard you and believed you and was there and saw it. So it's that's the there's some form of connection that's formed in that moment. It's really called a trauma bond.
Yeah.
You form a connection. You first time you see this protective instinct, the first time you're seeing this lifestyle that he's showing you, the clubbing, the partying, the yachts, the jewelry, the everything, and then you get what I'm saying? So first time something goes wrong, he immediately steps up to the plate.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So
time I felt uncomfortable about a situation, he did do that for me. And I want people also to realize, I think a lot of people ask why, if he was toxic in the beginning, why was I with him? But he wasn't. He was amazing. And I want people to know that I didn't put myself in a toxic situation, but he was so different in the beginning. And I know like what people see of him online, like it's obviously negative and all this stuff, but that wasn't who I fell for. It was not that. It was a protector. It was a provider. It was someone that had respect for me and, you know, just made sure I was okay and opening the car door for me, taking me out to dinner, very respectful.
Showing you a world of opportunities too.
Absolutely. And I also, on top of that, knew like everyone's passionate about the same thing. So like it couldn't get better. I was like, these people love social media. They do fun skits all the time. Like he was involving me in videos without having OnlyFans a little bit here and there. Like they would have like a little skit and then it was fun and I would be like, oh, that was funny. And it had nothing to do with, you know, the whole OnlyFans side of things, but they did involve me in a little bit. But for the most part, that whole entire month of us hanging out with each other was just strictly clubs, yachts, drinking, dinner, fun. Like that was that. So I ended up going to Coachella. I had a great time, like so much fun, because I was also like, you know, I have this group of people around me, a bunch of girls that I was friends with and did a lot of things before I had met Jack. That was kind of like my friend group, but it was like also for social media as well. They were very nice girls. So Jack was in the back of my mind. I was like, I wonder what he's doing, but I did see that he was like with new girls. So I was like, like, I don't know if I'm gonna go back to Florida. Like he seems to like be talking to other females and I didn't really know. It was very up in the air. We weren't really texting. And then when I had came back from Coachella, the day after Coachella ended, he texted me. He had just been through, I guess, a bad time because he had gotten his Lambo, like the new car, and there was a huge flood in Florida.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so that was like horrible for him at that time because his whole house was flooded. His car, he thought, was totaled. A lot of people in the house's cars were totaled. So he was like, I really need you. Like, I want you to come early and I want you to come back because I need you. And I was like, wow, like, I wasn't expecting him to say that. Like, he needed me. Like, he was there for me. He was there for me when things went wrong. So, like, I want to be there for him and I want to be able to support him through whatever he's going through. I know it was a hard time for him. He had lost his house. So,
guys, what's up?
I ended up planning a trip back. My parents, again, they're like, McKinley, are you ever going to come back home? Like, are you like, you keep traveling? And I was like, listen, like, I'm just having the time of my life right now. Like, I'm having so much fun. I'm with people that love me and care about me. I go back to Florida and he bought my ticket. Again, I also want to say it was always one ways. It was always a one-way ticket. It was never a return flight back. So I would just, you know, it was up in the air.
What do you mean? Like he wouldn't buy you a
round trip? Yeah. So it was always like, let me just buy you a ticket and we'll figure it out as we go. And
that's what he said? Yeah.
I guess that's kind of where his head was at with things. I didn't really look at it like in a weird way. I was just kind of like...
That's a control tactic.
Yeah.
I want you to know that. I know you know that, but like...
Yeah.
That's so clearly him just controlling when you go, where you stay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's...
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I get it. Like, I can wrap my head around the fact that, like, okay, you meet this new girl, you're, like, so obsessed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to... You know when you first meet somebody, you want to be around them 24/7?
Yeah.
So it's like, I get it. Like, oh, I just want her to stay. Like, I don't want her to go. I don't want her to go. But, like, realistically, like... Hey, do you have a commitment? Do you have something to do? Like, I'll buy you your flight back. Like, no worries. Like, what do you have to do? Like, but just, I don't know.
Yeah, at that time, I was looking at it as he wants me there. And like, but now, after everything, it makes more sense. He wanted me there. But I was on my flight. I had a red eye. And before I went on the flight, he FaceTimed me with the whole group of people. It was Michelle and like all these girls. And they were just like, I'm so excited to see you. Like, we're gonna have so much fun. We're going out to the club tonight. I hope you have a safe flight. I'll see you in the morning. And I was like, you guys have fun. Like, I'll see you soon. Jack was like, I miss you. I can't wait to see you. And I was like, okay, like, I feel like vibes have changed, like, between us. Like, I think he actually is, you know, interested in me and, like, wants to get to know me. So I landed. I came to the house. It was a new house. They were staying in Airbnb because the one had flooded. And when I walked in, nobody was downstairs. It actually looked like a crazy like rager went on. Like there was alcohol everywhere, Solo cups everywhere. It was a mess. So I remember, since no one was up and awake, even Jack, I was cleaning the area because I don't know
What?
I was just cleaning. I felt like
Why?
I don't know. I was very, I don't know. I just started cleaning. OCD.
Okay.
So as I'm cleaning,
Okay,
I look towards the stairs and I see this girl I've never seen in my life before. I had not met her. I didn't see any pictures of her. She walks downstairs and I'm just like, well, okay, well, I don't know who that is. We didn't really speak or talk. It was a little awkward. And then he walks downstairs and just starts laughing, like with his friends. And I was just like, like what's going on? He was very awkward hugging me. And I was like, this doesn't like seem right. Like I'm confused. As soon as everyone wakes up and like the girls come to me, even his own friends, everyone that worked for him came up to me and said, listen, Jack hooked up with a girl last night. I don't want you to freak out.
Oh yeah, fuck me. I'm not gonna.
Right.
What are you fucking talking about? I just flew fucking across the fucking nation.
Right. That's what I was really upset. Like my stomach, like I felt like a pit. I was like, damn, bro. But then they were like, but it's okay because he said that he thought it was you. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Out of every fucking excuse ever.
Okay, because he like a pit. I was like, damn, bro. But then they were like, but it's okay because he said that he thought it was you.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Out of every fucking excuse ever, like actually ever, I've never heard of.
No, me neither.
Genuine.
We look nothing alike.
No, you don't get it. I thought it was you.
Right.
No, I fucked her because I thought it was your pussy.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, that just pissed me off.
No, I mean, she had brown eyes.
Your pussy. It was you.
Right.
No, I fucked her because I thought it was your pussy.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, that just pissed me off.
No, I mean, she had brown eyes. Like nothing.
No,
like, we looked nothing alike.
Right.
But
She had like black hair, like jet black hair.
it wasn't my hair. It was not my hair. But when they told me that, I was like, whatever. Like I'm not that dumb. Like I was like, okay, he obviously hooked up with this girl, she was sleeping in my spot in bed with him. I was upset. I was hurt, but I was like, you know what? I'm not looking like we're not together. We're not labeled. But I was like, but I am here with all of these people. I don't know a lot of people, but we're always going out, meeting new people. Like, let me just like hang out with everybody. And if he's that way,
okay, so you were just thinking like, okay, it's casual.
I was like, well, I'm just still taking this opportunity. Like, he's a cool guy. We're probably not going to date because he's doing these things. But like, I'm down to meet new people. I'm down to be with my friends.
There.
Yeah, like I was already friends with the people that had invited me down there, and Jack was just someone that like I started to get to know, and like I wasn't expecting it. So I took it for how it was. I was like, let's just see how the day goes, and that was the day I met you. That was the day that we went on the yacht, the prank.
Yeah.
Yeah, babe. You're wearing a yellow bikini.
Bitch, talk about bad timing.
No, it was like really bad timing. By the way.
Okay, let me preface here. Okay, now I look like a piece of shit, but I didn't know.
You didn't know. You didn't know.
The day I met Mckinley, I was like working with Jack. I would say like I just started working with Jack, and he would go on these crazy yachts and like whatever, and he invited me on the yacht. So I was like, okay, cool. And he goes, listen, like I'm filming a YouTube video, and he was like, my girl Mckinley. He
said my girl.
Yes, like
right.
You were his girl. Like it was very clear. Like he made it clear to me that like you were someone that he was seeing, so he wanted to pull a prank on you.
Yeah.
And he was like, the video was that Mckinley was gonna catch me and Jack like in this like yacht bedroom together, and there were like cameras everywhere, and she was gonna walk in, and it was gonna seem like
you guys were together.
We were together, and you were supposed to see it, and I was supposed to be like, oh no, it's a prank.
Wait.
Together, Mckinley on you, and he was like, the video was he wanted to pull a prank on you, and he was like, the video was that McKinley was gonna catch me
my
and
God.
Jack like in this like yacht bedroom to McKinley was gonna and he was like the video was that McKinley was gonna catch me and Jack like in this like yacht bedroom together, and there were like cameras everywhere, and she was gonna walk in and it was gonna seem like
you guys were together.
We were together and you were supposed to see it, and I was supposed to be like, oh no, it's a prank. That was a real thing that happened, and me not knowing that a real situation like this happened
the day that you did it,
the same day.
The same
it's
day.
so funny. Not funny. It's ironic how as soon as she opened the door, her face just was kind of like, and then she closed the door and walked out. And I was like, oh, I shot up out of the bed and I was like, wait, McKinley, like it's a joke. And you were like, it's fine. I remember her being like, it's fine. Like it's not that big of a deal.
She was confused as to why I wasn't reacting.
Freaking out because first of all, let me tell you something. Let my man pull some bullshit like that. I'm raging. I'm breaking shit. I'm going crazy. So the fact that you didn't, and he had introduced you to me as like his girl, like I was really confused by your reaction, but I guess this makes perfect sense.
I was like catching him with a second girl today. I literally remember that so clear. I was like, where's Jack? Where's the girl in the yellow? I remember I said the girl in the yellow, and I was like, they're probably downstairs. It's okay. I mean, like it's what I'm expecting. Like at this point, like he's a man-ho. Like I opened the door and I didn't have any reaction, and then everyone was like, what's wrong? Like you asked me, and I was just like, I don't care. But in the back of my head, I'm like, this is that prank. It just like kind of validated how I felt that day. I was like, even though it was fake, I was like, I don't know like how to feel about that, you know?
That was the beginning of the end. Like in a sense of like that is the tactic he used on you throughout the entire relationship. It's just for content.
Just for content, yeah. And that was like that was real emotion.
That was real. That was a real scenario that happened that morning.
Yeah.
So what happened? Did you ever talk to Jack about like why?
I didn't feel like it was my place for some reason. I'm going to therapy right now. Like I'm working on getting better at communication skills, and like if I'm not okay with something and there's a boundary broken, I want to be able to voice that and like feel comfortable doing that. But at that time, like I really didn't. Like I was afraid of getting hurt. I was afraid of looking dumb. I was afraid of him saying, well, we're not anything. Like I can do what I want. So I just wanted to, you know, from afar, from a distance, like see how you operate. If you're doing this in front of girls, I'm not going to pursue you. Like if you're doing all of this in front of me, then it's wraps. Like we're not going to be doing anything. And that was something like I feel like I made very, very apparent to him. I was like, loyalty is my number one thing. Like loyalty, because I'm I'm a loyal friend. I'm a loyal girlfriend. I'm so loyal to people, and that's the only thing I want is loyalty and respect. He was so respectful to me. Like when I tell you, like he would even go as far as saying, I could never imagine getting mad at you or yelling at you. You're too sweet. You're too unproblematic. That's what I love about you so much, is that you're so unproblematic. You're not confrontational. Like he was so respectful. And I'm not a confrontational person. I don't like confrontation. And that's something, again, I'm working on, is just, you know, not letting people walk all over me. And I feel like I was very quiet, and I'm a very quiet person, but I'm not dumb. I'm observant. I know what's going on, even though it may not look like that. So I always kept my guard up with him, especially in the beginning. I was like, you know, I'm witnessing him flirting with girls in front of me, but he calls me his girl and none of them, and doesn't claim them. So it was like this constant confusion of like, does he like me, or is he flirting with these girls in front of me? Did, like, you know?
It's almost like he's, and hear me out, like I get it, like keeping you on your toes. Like I don't want to give her too much. I don't want her to know that I'm so in love with her. I don't want her to know that I'm too into her, because I understand that some girls are like unattracted if a guy is like too overly obsessed with you. But I think that flirting and making it seem like you're fucking other women is a turn off. That's not a turn on.
Right, yeah.
At least for me. No, like personally, like I'm not going to be like, oh my God, like I want to fuck him even more because he's fucking other girls. Like that's not, I think that's what he was trying, maybe.
I think so too. I think so, because he was with a girl before me and there was this like whole situation, and that was even some drama. Like during this time especially, she bullied me, hated me, would talk the worst possible things you could ever say about anybody, but like be nice to my face. But apparently, it was kind of the same situation. He was feeling her for a little bit, and then I came into the picture. I had no idea that they were even seeing each other or were a thing, but I come into this situation not knowing this, and I have this random girl hating me, and I don't know her. And I was just like, I was honest with Jack, and I was like, hey, listen, like, I think you need to have a conversation with her, because she's signed to him, she works with him, and I know that I don't give you anything. Like, you don't have my OnlyFans, like, you don't work together, but like, I would hope that you have respect for me as your girl to like say, yo, chill, like, don't say that about her, don't do this, don't do that. But that was like a game for him. I felt like, having her living with us in the same house, an ex-girlfriend, which that's just messy in itself. But like, he would flirt with her in front of me, and then, she would talk about me to him in really negative ways, and I would hear it. And I was just like, where's the respect? Like, I was very, very confused as to why he acted like that. But then he would just tell me, you don't have to worry about these girls, they're just jealous of you. That's what he would tell me. Not, they're in the wrong, whatever. He'd be like, I know who you are. So like, you shouldn't care what anyone says about you, because I know you. That's what he always told me when I would have a problem with something ever. If he was flirting with girls or, talking to his ex in a certain way, I would be like, why are you doing that? And then he'd be like, but that it's different. Like, you're different from all of them. So looking back, I mean,
Yeah.
the red flags were there, but he did take into consideration what I had to say at this point.
Like, playing both sides.
He was, but I would confide in him, tell him what I had a problem with and the boundaries I had set. But I also knew we didn't have a label. So when I would go to my friends like Michelle and say, hey, like, this is happening, I don't know what to do, they'd be like, you just need to talk to him. And I'd be like, well, I don't know what to say, because we're not boyfriend and girlfriend. He technically can do whatever he wants. So, I was always really confused. I was like, is he going to ask me to be his girlfriend? Is he going to continue to kind of disrespect me because we don't have a label on it and he feels like he can? So
Yeah.
that was something I was very confused with. We were continuing for 2 months to just drink and go to dinner and go on boats. And then I went back home to Vegas for like a few days. And then I went back, and that's when he moved into his brand new house. And by the way, I also want to mention that he didn't pull out a camera or film anything when I was getting to know him. He didn't prioritize filming whatsoever. I had no idea how anybody made money in that house. I was like, nobody's filming videos. What is everyone doing? It was just fun. So when I came back from Vegas, and why I kept giving him chance after chance, even though I was kind of seeing things that bothered me and that were crossing, boundaries that I would have never let happen in a normal relationship. But again, this is not normal, because he was, so involved with social media, and that was something that, I actually looked up to. Like with him, I looked up to how much he was involved in social media, and also just his passion for it and his work. But I think most of the reason why I stayed and why I kept coming back and why I kept giving him chance after chance was because he was providing an illusion that he cared for me, and that he was a genuine, caring person that, wanted the best for me. And he was also providing me a life that I had never seen before. In Miami, I'm 20 years old. I had never been to a bar or a club or like seeing these boats. Like, it was something that was so new to me, and it was exciting in itself. Even without a boyfriend or whatever, was an exciting moment for me. And
so behind closed doors, he was like, was it different behind closed doors? Like, what was he telling you? Like,
it was a lot different behind closed doors. He would, if I had a problem with something that, a girl had said about me that he was working with, he'd be there for me and comfort me and make me sure that he was all about me. And that's all I had to worry about, was what he thought of me, not anybody else in the house. So I kind of took it for how it was. I listened to his advice because, again, I'm not a confrontational person. Someone could say things about me and I'm still not going to go up to you and say, you said this. Like, I'm not that type of person. I'm very, like, it gives me anxiety even thinking about it. So I continued, and he was still, you know, buying me things, taking me out to dinners, but it was less like how it was in the beginning because we didn't have the alcohol. He didn't have the confidence, I guess, to have normal conversations with me because we were all sober. You know, alcohol was something that I never needed to, you know, have conversations with people, but he was very locked in, I would say, like to his phone and to his job. And
Really?
He is. And it's a really bad, anyone close to him knows.
I kind of, you know, I knew because I've watched him like during like the Tesla stream, like,
yeah.
And he would joke around and be like, bro, you gotta do Adderall, like it'll keep you, it's so W, bro, like it'll keep you sharp, like it'll keep you going, like bro, I've like 3 days, you know what I mean, like, but at the same time though, like I know he does have like ADHD, so I was like, okay, maybe. I genuinely at some point was like, oh, it's just like he's just prescribed Adderall and he takes Adderall.
Right. He buys it, and he's actually not prescribed even anymore. But it became a problem with him, especially with the drinking. That's why he got so drunk, because he was, you know, tweaking out on Adderall as well, and that's something you can't mix. So that's why I really looked out for him, and I worried for him because I knew he was taking the Adderall, and I didn't think it was a problem at first. I really didn't, because again, like, you know, people are prescribed Adderall for ADHD, and he clearly, like, he has ADHD, but he would take it in ways that you shouldn't take it, like popping 2 at once, and you would have that, you know, that feeling of just like bouncing off the walls. That's why he was, you know, so blackout drunk when he would drink. It was that on top of the alcohol, mixing that. It was horrible. There were times where I felt like I had to call the fucking ambulance because he was saying like, I feel like I'm gonna die, my heart's beating out of my chest. And I was like, you cannot mix these things. Like, I don't know what to do. But this was something that he took, you know, sober too. When I went there and like we went to the new house and he started filming more, you know, his way of success was Adderall, and he would always make jokes about that. He would give it to his employees. He would say, "You'll work better if you take this. You'll be more sharp. You'll be more efficient." Like you said, like he really tried to get a lot of his employees on it because they were doing exactly what he was doing. He needs his filmer to be on Adderall. He would want the people he's working with to be on the same page because you're just like go, constant go. So again, I felt very uninvolved in everything. And on top of that, he would, you know, shower me with gifts and spoil me. And that was something that, you know, I was very thankful for, but it also became very negative because I realized that the girls were really upset about it. And I was confused because I was like, are they just, he was telling me they were jealous. I was like, well, it might be that, but it's like, why are they so upset at you getting me these things if you're not you know, if you don't have a relationship with any of the other girls? Like, it's just a little weird, because if I'm your girl, then it wouldn't be weird for them to see that you're buying me anything. Exactly. So a few weeks pass, you know, I'm still doing my things. I'm getting sent, you know, clothes, and I'm modeling the clothes, and I'm doing brand deals in the house. And I remember one of the girls had a conversation with him and just said, you know, like, what value does she bring to you? Like, she brings no value. She makes you no money.
Huh?
Yeah. She was like, all she does is take selfies, and she's around the house, and she does this. She's unemployed. She doesn't do anything. Like, she doesn't make you any money. That's when I started piecing together that these girls, you know, they make money from OnlyFans, but he also takes a large chunk. And I never knew what chunk of money was taken because he has everyone on NDAs and they were unable to talk about it. But also at the same time, I did have a lot of the girls confide in me because I wasn't involved and I had no involvement in the business side of things. And they would just tell me, like, you know, how unhappy they are with the contract that they're in. They told me about it, and I wasn't on that type of contract, but that was how he did things in the beginning, I guess, when people were less aware and more naive. I don't want to get into specifics in people's business, but I know that that was probably, looking back on it, the reason why they were so upset at him showering me with gifts with their money. I mean,
that's crazy,
just
right there,
from
brother.
how I felt, at least, you know, and leading on to the situation. But he ends up this one night taking me to dinner. He said that it was a business dinner. And he was like, I want you to come with me. I'm meeting up with my business guy. I'm not saying his name. We end up going. It's a really nice dinner. It's with a bunch of other people I had never met before, but it was this older guy. And Jack introduced me to him. We start talking a little bit, and he just brings up, so why don't you have an OnlyFans? This man, he's like in his 40s.
And you've never met him before?
Never had met him before. I was like, well, it kind of caught me off guard, especially like coming from an older man. I was just kind of like, that's the first thing you say to me is, why don't you have an OnlyFans? I was like, it's against my morals. That's all I said. I was like, it's just the way I was raised. Like, I that's something not in the cards for me. And I'm firm on that. And he said, fuck your morals.
Why?
He said, fuck your morals. And I didn't know what to say to that. Like, I've never had anyone, especially, you know, again, an older person saying that to me. And I was really offended. I was sitting there at the dinner table, you know, they're just talking about random things. And when we got in the car, I told Jack, I was like, I'm offended. Like, I don't want you to put me in a situation like that ever again, because you know how I feel about all of this. And that was like really like awkward for me. And I don't want you to do that to me again. So he apologized. He said he wasn't going to bring it up again. And in that moment, just piecing everything together, I think that's when he realized
you were serious.
I was serious. I didn't want to do it. No matter how many people asked me, he never asked me. He never did, but his people would ask me. His
so he would go and tell people like, yo, do you think you think she'll do it? Like, you think this week if I fly her out here, she'll do it?
Mm-hmm. Or if I buy her this, if I do this, if I do that. So he realized that. I was very firm on it. I even went so far to tell him, don't do that to me again. Like, that was offensive. Please don't do that to me again. So we go back. The dynamic at this point has changed. Like, I feel very alone. I feel like I should leave because he's, you know, still flirting with me. We're still sleeping in the same bed. He's still like,
had you guys hooked up here?
No. We didn't hook up or do anything for a year and a half into our relationship. Nothing. I know.
No head?
Nothing. No head. But no.
You went a year and a half, no head?
None of that.
He went a year and a half, no head?
No, not
I mean,
at
you would
all.
want to give him head, but regardless. Continue.
Yeah.
So tasty, it could make Poseidon switch to a spoon. Wholly divine taste from the Greek gods.
Now, I want to start talking about the whole situation as to why I am sitting here right now with an OnlyFans, even though it was against everything that I had wanted for myself.
Yeah, like what happened? What happened? Like, especially with the shift, like him realizing, like, oh fuck, like there's really nothing I can do to get this girl to.
Yeah.
Why didn't he send you home?
Well, he kind of tried to do that. I'll never forget this night because it was honestly the night that changed my life. For a long time, I beat myself up over it. Even like to this day, I'm like, I wish I wasn't as naive. But again, like, I cannot blame myself for feeling this way, like, ever. I know.
It is not your fault.
I know. I have to remember that.
It is not your fault, McKinley.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you don't, it happened and it's not your fault.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't, people can say, what they can say, and no, nobody forced me into something. Mm-hmm. Like, not at all. But with, being with him, keep in mind, this is probably like 3-4 months into us knowing each other and like building a relationship. I'm building a relationship with a guy, and not only a guy, but my closest friends that I've known for a while. I met you. I met Michelle. I met everybody that was there, and it wasn't just me losing a boyfriend. It was me losing everything that I had built. So, I'll never forget this night. Michelle walked into the bathroom I was in. I was by myself, and she basically told me, "Listen, don't freak out, but Jack really wants you to start OnlyFans, and he said that there's no reason for you guys to be together if you're not helping." And I broke down in tears. I was like, wow. Like, everything that he had said to me, like, "Oh, I know you're my wife because you don't have one," and getting me to go to dinner and try to get me on OnlyFans, but it didn't work. Now it's an ultimatum. He wanted me, when he realized he didn't have the control over me when it came to other people and like what they could say, he realized that he did need to create an ultimatum for me. And that was hard for me. And he knew that. He knew what I felt and how I felt about him and the whole situation, and how I would tell him like how happy I was and like how this is so fun for me. So I cried and I was like, let me talk to Jack. Like, I just need to talk to him. I was thinking, you know, if I go and talk to him and just say, you know, this is how I feel about this, like, he'll respect it again. And like, if he sends me home and, you know, doesn't want to be with me because of this, then like, I guess it is what it is. But I didn't want to lose that. And that was what I was like prioritizing. It wasn't what I could make on OnlyFans. I had no idea. I had no idea how much money you could make on OnlyFans. I just knew that I really liked this guy and that he was such a safety blanket for me. I felt like he was always there when I needed something. If I needed to go to the doctor, he would make sure I would go to the doctor. He was very caring. But I remember walking into the room that he was in. He was alone, also with one of his employees, and I walked in and they just start laughing. I didn't think it was funny. I guess they were just like, because Jack had never brought up OnlyFans to me, so it was like,
because he made everyone else do it.
Very awkward. Yeah, he made everyone else do it, which was, it's sad looking back on it because that was something I respected. I was like, I respect the fact that he cares about my beliefs and he understands that. And by the way, I also again want to say, I had no idea what he was doing and what business deals he had with these people. I was just trusting him as someone that cared about me. Like, I didn't think he would fuck me over. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, well, maybe this will be a good decision. After talking to him, I was explaining how this is not in the cards for me, Jack. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, my parents, like, I can't even imagine what they would think if I did this. And he was like, your parents are going to get over it. Like, they're going to realize how much money you're going to make. And I was like, am I though? Like, I had no idea. I was like, am I going to make money? I don't know. And they were like, you are going to be very well off. They were like, this is going to be the biggest success ever. And Jack was telling me, he was like, you're going to be, you know, my main girl. Like, we can post together. We can finally act like boyfriend and girlfriend. We can start doing things together. And like, it's not reasonable for you to be in my life if you're not involved in my life. And I understood that at the time. Now, if that was said to me, it would be a lot different. I think we changed so much. When I was 20, I'm not the same person as I was when I was 20. Like, I've grown a lot in these 2 years, and I really believe that me being a supportive girlfriend, if I am in this, and he does YouTube and all of these things, and he's filming his life constantly, why wouldn't I, you know, help him? It was never a me thing. It was never, oh, I think I should do this. I think we would do great together. It was him and saying he had a vision and that we could make something great. So I tried to shut down the conversation and I just agreed to it. And in my head, I was like, I am not doing this. I'll have a conversation with him tomorrow and I'll just be like, listen, I've been thinking about it. I can't do it. Like, that's where my head was at. But I just literally, I wanted to stop the conversation. I was so uncomfortable. I had Michelle and his other employee and him just like telling me how successful it's going to be. And, you know, that was something that I didn't know for sure. I didn't know if like I would start it and then like, you know, my parents would never speak to me again. I was fully preparing myself for that. We ended up going to bed and I woke up And that morning, he had a contract in hand, and he told me to sign it. I didn't even have the opportunity to talk to my parents about it. I was going to call my mom because my mom was more comforting, you know, in that situation, because my dad obviously didn't want to talk to him about that at all. But I didn't even have time for that or for any legal representation. He gave me the contract, and he basically just said, sign it. I read through it, and I didn't like how it said, you know, he owns all of my social media accounts, because again, I had a following. I had 500,000 followers on TikTok. I had over 100K on Instagram. That was something I had built for years. And that was something that I held very close to me. So I was like, I just want to make sure, like, in this contract, do you actually own all of my accounts, even the ones that I have? And then he was like, no, the contract means nothing. Like, we can change anything, but it's whatever. Just sign it. So I signed it. And then first words that came out of his mouth were, "You're now Jack Doherty's girlfriend." And that was the day that we had a label. I was still waiting on the, you know, actual ask and like the, "Hey, will you be my girlfriend?" But from that day forward, he filmed with me, filmed videos with me, and called me his girlfriend online. So I was like, well, at least he's labeling it as we're boyfriend and girlfriend online. That's different than what he used to do. Like, he didn't do any of that. But again, I'm still lacking the, "Hey, will you be my girlfriend?" Like, we're dating now. Like, we never talked about it. It was just kind of unspoken. But I'll never forget this time. We went to New York to his parents' house. It was like my first time meeting, you know, people close to him. And one of his really close friends that he grew up with, she asked, "What are you guys? Are you boyfriend and girlfriend?" And that was the first time someone had asked like that question. And I didn't say anything. I looked at Jack and I was like, "Are we?" And he was like, I mean, what's the difference? And then I was like, there's a huge difference. I was like, what do you mean? Like, the label, I feel like girlfriend and boyfriend, you're exclusive to each other. You're with each other, and like, that's that. And he was like, well, I would never ask you to be my girlfriend. That's gay. And I was like, well, I
would never ask you to be my girlfriend. That's homosexual.
Right. Yeah.
I would never, as a man, ask you to be my girlfriend, because that's a homosexual thing to do.
Yeah, it didn't really click with me either. That caught me off guard. I was like, okay.
What is can I ask ChatGPT, what is the actual logic? Sorry, okay.
I don't know.
Right. I'm sorry, by the way. That's every girl, like, that's how you build a life. You know, like, you ask to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Years down the road, you asked to be a fiance. What was he just?
I mean, again, like, he's feeding me these things like he is into me, but I didn't feel like boyfriend and girlfriend, because again, we're lacking the sexual chemistry. We're not really talking when we're sober, but what we do have in common is that we have a lot of fun when we film together. And like, that was what I was lacking before, because I wasn't involved. So now that I'm involved, like, he fully was prioritizing me, and almost like not putting the girls on the back burner, but just like prioritizing me as Jack's girlfriend online. And obviously, like, I was in more videos, and that was something that was always a priority, but that also started to make the girls not like me either. So even though I'm just, you know, doing me and like just trying to navigate the relationship aspect, I'm also trying to navigate, you know, why these girls hate me. Like, I don't do anything. I don't know what to do. He labeled me as this. We're talking. He's telling me this, but he's probably telling them other things. I didn't know. But we were laying in bed this one night after we had came back from that New York trip, and he was like, remember what my friend brought up about me and you being boyfriend and girlfriend? I was like, yeah. And he was like, is there really a difference? And I was like, I think that there is a difference. And then he was like, well, I mean, I always said it was gay when you asked someone to be your girlfriend, but I guess I'll be gay. Do you want to be my girlfriend? That's how he asked me.
Gifts for the outdoors and the outdoorsy. Eddie Bauer.
Ready, set, go. it on your wish list. Go ahead, dance big, get the gist. Better do your thing, cause you can't resist. Here we go. Here we go. Let's go.
Okay, dude, it's been time. Skip that.
So from that day forward, I knew we were exclusive. It wasn't the best way to ask, but apparently he was too good to, respectfully ask me. And by the way, I also want to say the second I signed to him and gave him, access to my accounts and all of this stuff, the disrespect started showing. Like, he was not as respectful as he was in the beginning. A dinner, you could forget about it. We never went on dates. We never did anything like how we did in the past. He was strictly just, content. So I was like, how do you keep up with all of this stuff? Like, I'm exhausted. Like, how does your life, like, how do you continue to do this? And he was like, it's Adderall. Like, you should try. He was like, you will be successful. I'm not proud of it at all, but I had a horrible Adderall addiction dating him because of him telling me I needed to keep up with him. And also, it's like when Jack's face is somewhere, I was always there. I had to keep up with him without that substance. And when I did that, I felt more motivated, and it gave me a feeling. I'm not on it anymore, thankfully, but that ruined my life. I couldn't function without it. It became...
So when he did it, you would do it?
When he did it, I would do it. Every morning before I could even eat breakfast, I did it because we needed to go downstairs and film as soon as, we woke up. We had no time to eat. He hated when people ate. He would get mad at people when we were eating and saying we were wasting time and we needed to focus on content and we're taking too long to eat. So I went through a very long period with just not eating and just waking up and taking Adderall. And I weighed 140 pounds when I moved down to Florida. I wasn't eating for like a week at a time. Like, I was just not hungry. I was stressed out. I was depressed because, again, I'm dealing with him constantly flirting with girls in front of me. He's telling me one thing. I'm so confused, all while trying to prove to him that I am different and I want to work. Because a lot of the people that he has signed, they didn't have social media presence, and videos were just like something they had to do because whatever. Like, they were in college, they weren't passionate about it, but I loved filming. I loved, meeting people, and starting a YouTube channel was my dream. So I started a YouTube channel and it took off. And he didn't want me to do it at first. He said it was a waste of time. Looking back, I'm so grateful and thankful that I had people around me that really wanted me to do it as well. His employees really pushed me, which was my filmers and all that stuff, and they made it possible for me to do that. And within the first month of me starting YouTube, I gained 1 million followers, and that was something I was so proud of. And I felt like him seeing that would also just like, I was craving something, and I just wanted him to see how successful I was. Yeah, I wanted validation, and I think that's a lot of the reason why I was very motivated. Not only because I wanted to do it for myself, but I was like proving to him. I want to prove to him that I'm a hard worker and that I'm here for him, and I want to, create this amazing thing for us where you make money and I make money.
Like an empire. You wanted to build an empire with him.
Absolutely, and that was what my mindset was. But within the first month of me starting OnlyFans, a brand new thing started happening for him, and that was streaming. And instead of, him pulling out a camera and filming a few minutes of his day, it started to become for 24 hours long. He had have a camera, and then it would be 36 hours, and it would be really long live streams. But if you guys watched Jack in his early days of streaming, you know how chaotic it was. I want to actually play a few things for you guys and for you to see, the difference in the content he was doing, especially in the earlier days. It obviously was a lot different as the, years went on. But in the very beginning stages, it was very, very chaotic. And I want to show you guys what it looks like.
Somebody called and said you wanted yourself.
Bitch ass nigga. Yeah. I told you.
Chaotic. And I want to show you guys what it looks like. Very beginning stages, it was very, very chaotic. And I want to show you guys what it looks like.
Somebody called and said you wanted yourself.
Oh my God. Bitch ass nigga. Yeah. I told you.
Whatever. My chat's not gonna care what your chat's.
Recording. I'm gonna
This is
break
drama?
the camera. I don't care.
Don't touch him. This guy.
Stop. Trump. Oh, fuck.
What's up? Hey, one by one. What's up, nigga? Fuck you, bitch. Come on.
Wait, what'd he do?
I don't know.
Wait, did he take? I didn't do anything. It's because we're all minors. I have a problem. I'm going to rehab, okay?
But in these early days of streaming, again, OnlyFans was very new to me. It was something I was very insecure about. That was something I got to a point where I was like, I can't even look at you in the mirror, like to myself. Like I didn't know how to tell people. I didn't want people to know that about me in this moment. And while he was streaming, he would have these people come over and grill me and say, "You're going to hell. You are a whore," like just constant degrading comments, which made me overthink a lot of things. And all this is happening on live stream. So it's not only, just happening in private, but these things are getting said to me, and all while he's mistreating me, he's actively cheating on me, telling me it's all just for content. I was so emotional. I was crying constantly. He would come over to me and say, it's all for content. It's all fake. Like, don't worry about it. It's all for the camera. Like, I'm here for you when I'm not streaming. Like, it's just for the stream. But this made me feel like I was crazy because I was questioning my own reality. I'm actively watching you, getting twerked on by girls. I'm actively watching you talk about how fine this girl is and how you're going to DM her, and like actively DMing girls on live stream and just doing things that I would never in a million years let happen in a normal relationship. Like I'm so big on loyalty. So him saying it's all for content, it's all for the camera, it confused the hell out of me. I was so confused. But again, this is so new to me. I'm like, okay, well, I guess. But there was a certain point where I fully just left the situation and let him do what he wanted to do on his streams and not associate myself with his streams. I started to not really show my face and just hide in my own room because, if I went downstairs, I could possibly be in an altercation with a girl that he called a whore. Or, he would degrade women. And then what do the women do? They look at the girl he's dating and they're like, why are you letting him talk to me this way? So that was something I did not want to deal with at all. And I also want to take into account him being on Adderall was his excuse, because he would tell me he would black out. He'd be like, I was on so much Adderall that I don't even know what I said. I don't even remember what I said. I'm just trying to entertain my stream. Like, why can't you understand that?
Go ahead, make your day with Samsung OLED S95F.
And that was when Adderall became a major problem for him. It wasn't just, let me just take my one. He would have 30 milligram Adderall pills and popping multiple at a time. He would stay up for 24 hours, 36 hours, continuing his streaming like every single day. Even if he would stop, it would maybe just be to sleep and then waking up and redoing it all over again. And I'm not taking Adderall like that. I couldn't. Like that scared me because I knew how unhealthy that was and how bad it could be if he overdosed on Adderall. So I was exhausted. I was so tired. I look back at pictures and videos of me during that time and like my dark circles, like I need my sleep. And especially in those moments when I'm already stressed out and the lack of sleep, I really felt like I was going crazy. And me and Michelle and, we were the only two girls that were really in the house living there like full time, because a lot of people, would go back and forth to other places. But her and I would just, be with each other the entire time and just, be like, I wish this wasn't happening in our house. Like, I wish I could have peace. I wish I could have, be able to go downstairs and sit on the couch and have a nice dinner, but it was not that. And his whole entire life turned into streaming every single day, 24/7. And it wasn't him being nice to me. It was constant disrespect. And that was something that was very, very new. Like, I was like confused. I'm like, where did the person I met go? Like, where did the person go that stood up for me and made me feel safe? And, you know, but again, this is all masked because he said it was just for content. But some of the worst things happened to me. Not everything was caught on camera that happened, but a big chunk of things were filmed when I didn't even want them to be filmed. A lot of emotional things happened to me, traumatic events. One of them being he flipped an entire golf cart on top of me on purpose, and it was for a clip. I know that because he was trying his best to flip it, and you can see in the footage the only thing that he was looking for was the camera to see if they got it. I want to insert that clip and show you guys what had happened.
Oh, fuck.
I was in so much pain. And got it. I want to insert that clip and show you guys what had happened.
Oh, fuck.
I was in so much pain. He thought it was not that big of a deal. This, again, happened on camera, and he was just worried about getting the good clip and seeing it on TikTok, not making sure I was okay. I knew I needed to go to the hospital when this happened to me. But he had prior obligations to go on a yacht with Antonio Brown, so it wasn't a priority. I was like, Jack, I need to go to the hospital. I was crying. I couldn't even walk. My back was so bruised up, and like my whole entire spine was just bruised. And my neck, it had hit my neck. It literally could have killed me. The way it fell on top of me, it fell on my side. The back of the cart went at the back of my neck, and I crunched over, and then it hit my back. He said that he thought it broke my neck. And I'm like, if you really thought that and you're like not worried about me, that's insane. He tells me like he's going to end stream. He's not going to go on the boat. And I have all of the people that were with him, Antonio Brown included, just saying like, oh, you're going to be fine. Like, just go on the boat. You need a massage. And I was like, that's not what I need. I was like, I need to go to the doctor. I need to go to the hospital. My parents were texting me because they were watching live. At this point, you know, my parents were very supportive of my life and trying to, you know, be involved. But the things they were seeing, they were just like, are you okay? Like, what's going on over there? Is he treating you good? And I would just say, Mom and Dad, it's for content. Like, that's his thing. Like, he wants to look crazy and like crazy things happen, but he's really good off camera. He wasn't amazing off camera, but I told my parents that because I knew they would be like, come home. Like, if he's not treating you good, come home. So I wasn't really honest. But we ended up going into the Sprinter van. We're about to leave, and we didn't leave for probably over an hour because they were trying to get Jack to not end his stream and not take me to the hospital, but to just go on the boat. I waited in the Sprinter van, and he decided to go on the yacht. He told me to wait and that he would only be 30 minutes. I was laying face down on the back seats because I couldn't sit down properly. I couldn't even lay. So I was literally on my stomach waiting for him, crying. And his filmer at the time was like, I'm so pissed. Like, he is horrible for this. Like, you need to go to the fucking hospital. Like, I can't believe he's doing this right now. Like, he was really, really upset. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna Uber. Like, I can't leave. I don't know what else to do. Like, I'm in so much pain. It was getting worse, and it was getting so much worse, and I was worried that something bad happened and that it hit something that it shouldn't have because I couldn't walk. So I ended up Ubering back to the house, not to the hospital. I was like, well, maybe if I go to the house and like I'll feel better, I'll get a heat pad. Maybe it's fine. I'm bruised up. When I'm on the way in the Uber and I'm sitting upright, I'm realizing like this is bad. Like, I'm in pain. I definitely need to do something. And I walk into the house. Everyone is there. Logan, his friend, and a bunch of the other people were there. And they looked at me and were like, we need to go to the hospital. Like, we'll go with you. So they were kind enough and realized, they watched it live and they were really pissed off at him for acting that way and, not caring about my well-being and not making sure I was okay. They ended up Ubering with me to the hospital. And when I went, Jack had met me there and he had a camera and he was filming me. I was so embarrassed because I'm in the hospital, you're filming all of these things. He was like, you're the baddest one in the hospital on video. And I was like, I'm just not in the mood for this. But he was filming and they gave me medicine and I went back home. I was in bed for about a week and, I was back to normal. But his joke, I guess, of everything, he bought a golf cart the day after it happened and then surprised me with it for a video. And it was all just a joke and funny to him. But I was I just remember I'm never getting on a freaking golf cart with you ever again. Just not happening. That was one huge thing that happened on camera. And then I think another huge thing was me getting robbed at gunpoint in Compton, which that. Yeah, that was something that changed my life. I think to this day, I still say a few years were shaved off that day because I thought it was over. I remember this day, they were going to a takeover. Jack was, streaming and he had his friend Mickey Mace. We were, planning to go to this takeover. I had no idea what a takeover was. I don't know if you probably knew what it was. I thought it was an event. I thought DJs would be there and it wasn't that at all. Not at all. We end up going. Yeah, it's in Compton. Yeah, at midnight. So I went. I wore all my jewelry. Dumb. I didn't know. I truly. We had security guards. We had 2 security guards. Mickey Mace was saying we're all gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. We end up getting there, and as soon as I get out of the car, I realize I don't belong here. This place is not where I want to be. People were, talking and yelling and saying, you don't belong here. You need to go back home or whatever, creeping me out. They're getting in my car, yelling from their cars. And all this is happening. And Jack, he does this thing where he doesn't look around for me anywhere. I just have to keep up. And if I get lost, then figure it out. He doesn't make sure I'm okay. He doesn't make sure I'm with him constantly. He walks so fast and everywhere. And I remember I kind of lost him during this. And then I saw him and people were coming up to me, talking to me, telling me how my shoes were nice. And I was like, I need to go. I need to get the hell out of here. I also was scared I was going to get hit by a car. It was really unsafe to be out there. So I told him, I was like, listen, I don't want to be here anymore. I think it's extremely dangerous. I want to go back home. And they were like, well, we're going to go to a few more. So we end up going to the second takeover spot because if you don't know how a takeover works, it's you start in one spot and then once it gets,
what are you doing?
Too crazy.
Drifting cars?
They're stolen cars. They steal cars and then they drift them in the main street. And people were hit. I saw someone get hit. It was really it was awful.
But what's the next spot?
The next spot is just wherever everyone goes because the police will come in, shut everything down. There were helicopters everywhere, so many police officers. But when you're in a group of people like that, there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, probably thousands. And there's nothing you can do in that situation. As a police officer, the only thing you can do is just show up with your lights and then everyone's running to the next spot. And
so they get caught, move, get caught, move,
yes.
And it just keeps going?
It keeps going. So we went to the second takeover spot. I get out for a second, it instantly gets shut down, and then I go into the Sprinter, and I told them, I was like, listen, I think the third spot we're going to, people know we're live streaming. This is very dangerous because takeovers, it's not only just stolen cars, it's stolen guns, it's people in masks, people are stealing things because no one's getting caught when you're in this situation. Nobody is getting caught because there's so many people and so many people have masks on, nobody knows. So I told them, I was like, I think I'm gonna stay in the car for the third one. I don't feel safe going out there. The last time I was out there, we had heard gunshots. I'm like, I can't do this. So they're like, okay, well, we'll give you the keys. I'm going to lock the door. They get out. I tried to tell them just to not go because I really genuinely felt like something bad was going to happen. And that's where I'm like, always trust your gut. Like, I knew something was going to happen and something was wrong in that moment. So they leave. I had the keys in my hand and the light was on in the Sprinter van. This is like a big like party bus looking thing. Like, we were not hiding anywhere. Like, we were in a like very out in the open. And I was sitting in my seat and I remember looking up and making eye contact with 2 guys in shiesties. And I was like, oh, I hope they can't see me. The lights are on in here. I need to figure out how to turn the lights off. So I get up. Yeah, I get up. I turn the lights off. And then I go in the very, very back so that I'm not like near the windshield and they can't see through. And I just laid down. I'm hearing helicopters. I'm hearing gunshots. I'm hearing fireworks. I'm hearing every type of thing. Freaking out. So much anxiety.
Dare to do it all behind the wheel of a
2026
Sorento from Kia of South Austin.
Really?
With an available turbocharged engine and available all-wheel drive, the Kia Sorento.
And then I hear the car door open. And I pop my head up. And I'm like, okay, everyone's back. Like, finally time to go. When I looked up I make eye contact with the guy I'd never seen before, any surgical mask. Like, it wasn't the 2 guys in shiesties that I had seen. It was a guy with a bag, a gun, and a blue surgical mask with gloves. And I looked at him. He said, "Who's in this party bus?" I didn't think he knew I was in there. So when I popped up and like made eye contact with him, I thought maybe it would spook him and that he would like get out. And then I saw him hop over the seat into the van.
Yeah.
And in this van, like, you're able to stand up fully straight up. He started running towards me, and I was like, I'm dead. Like, this is the time I like either get like, you know, killed or something horrible. And I just remember saying like, please, no. Like, I just was begging him. I was like, you can have everything, like, of mine. You can have my purse, you can have my money. I couldn't find my purse anywhere. I was like, where the fuck is it? I was like, please help me find it. I'll give you everything. I completely forgot I had a hoodie on and all my jewelry on. He didn't see any of my jewelry. But in that moment, I would have given everything to him. Like,
of course.
When you're in that situation, like, you don't know, like, I feel like a lot of people are like, I wouldn't give up my stuff. It's like, no, when you are alone, especially a female, like, in that moment, I was so powerless. Like, he could have done anything to me and get away with it. It could have been a stolen gun. He had a mask on. They could have came back to me dead in the car. But I was like, please help me find my purse. Like, I'll give you everything. And he was like, where the fuck is it? He had the gun up to my head and everything. And I was just like, I was closing my eyes and I was just like, I'm just waiting. I was like, this is fucking insane. And he ends up taking my wallet. I just had like my ID in there and like my cards and like some cash. And then as soon as he gets out, I'm shaking. Like, I'd never felt like that ever in my life, like almost like death experience. And it wasn't anything like, you know, the golf cart thing. It was like my life was literally in someone else's hands. Like, they could have made that decision right then and there, and like I would have been done. But I remember I called Jack. Exactly. It was the only person I could think of calling, and I was shaking and he didn't answer. And I didn't know if he was still outside. I didn't know if he had friends. I didn't know if they were gonna like come in there. And now looking back on it, I'm like, thank God Jack and all of them like didn't open the door when that was happening, because it would have been a full out shootout. Because our security had guns, he had a gun. I don't know what would have happened in that moment, but they end up opening the door and coming back. And I just want to insert the clip of, you know, what was live streamed, because the robbery was not on camera, but after the fact was. And I hate seeing this clip. It's the worst thing ever. Like, I can't even watch it. My parents can't watch it.
What'd they do? What the fuck?
Got robbed?
Yeah. Wait, what'd he do?
I don't know.
Wait, did he take your stuff?
I think.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I said, where's my bag? He said, get your fucking bag.
He took your purse?
I don't know.
McKinley, where?
Oh my God.
Where's the key? Where's the key? Okay.
But that was the most real trauma ever. Like, it was a noise that had never came out of me before. I was freaking out. Jack was, yelling at me. He was like, what happened? What happened? And I'm like shaking. I'm like, I can't even like explain what happened. I don't know. And it was obviously very, very traumatic for me. And I was like, please shut the cameras off. Like, I cannot, like, please take me off this camera. And he refused. He refused to shut off the camera. He refused to stop his live stream. He was laughing about it, saying like, well, you're going to wake up tomorrow and like, you're going to wake up to all these TikToks and like these viral clips. And I'm like, Jack, I don't care. I'm like, everything is content. Like, I don't know what isn't anymore. Like, even this, like, you can't just feel a little bit of empathy for me after going through that. And, he continued his live stream. He didn't listen to me. And I was like, what more does it take for you to just respect me? And what happened to you? What happened to the guy that made me feel safe in the beginning? Like, this was horrible. And now you don't care. And I realized in that moment, I was like, this man doesn't fucking care about me. You don't care.
Our seat covers aren't just engineered for comfort. Ford had to build a whole damn truck around them. The F-350 was basically built as their accessory.
There's more to Austin with the Statesman. More to cranes that never rest and saloon.
Is that the clip I saw where, like, when you were crying? Mm-hmm. There's this clip. Obviously, like, me and Mckinley's friendship, I do want to say that me and Mckinley's friendship, like, during this era was very few and far between in which we would see each other. I think we have, like, a soul tie.
We do. It was always so good.
Yeah,
It was like I had always seen you. Like, when I would see you.
It's like I would see her. Like, I saw you, for who you were. And it was even going back to, like, you starting OnlyFans. Like, it was a shock to me because I knew how badly you stood on business. And
yeah.
I woke up to a clip of you were, like, sitting in the passenger seat and Mickey Mace was, like, in the back. And you were crying. And I remember you were like, can you just turn the cameras off? And he was like, oh, you're going to be so glad I didn't turn the cameras off when we wake up to all these clips. And I could just see, like, the defeat in your face, just kind of like, I'm not even going to entertain this. And, like,
It's live.
But I just started it.
Like, why?
Because this is like fucking great.
Everything's great content for you.
But it
I
happened.
fucking died.
But you're alive. Let's share the story. Come on, I thought you agreed
Fuck
to.
you.
You're gonna
thinking that's okay.
tomorrow though. You're gonna be so happy
But,
you
like,
recorded this. You know that.
Maybe record it, but going live again?
Because it
right
gets
now,
clipped. You're gonna see it on
doesn't
TikTok.
Matter.
It
doesn't
does.
fucking matter.
I'm doing
for
this
once. Please, I'm asking. Please.
If we record it, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
he watched, like, a tear go in between her chest. And she was wearing, like, a tank top. And he was like, oh, zoom in right there, like, that's so W, like a tear just went down her boobs.
Yo, look at how it's going. Her tears going right between her tits. Look at that. That was a hole in one. Is this one going to? Wait, let me aim it. Let me aim it. Oh, it's going down her tit too. 2 for 2. Oh, I'm so sorry, but I fucking love you. Come here, stop. You're so hot. Listen, there's nothing to cry about.
Yeah, there was,
like, watching that is just, like, so.
I'm a very emotional person. Like, I've almost cried a few times, but it's just like that was something that he craved from me. It wasn't, I'm not that person that will be on his live stream like a lot of the other girls and be like, da 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 da, and talking. I cry. I feel things like really deeply.
But I want you to know though, like, you're not crying because you like to cry.
No, I hate crying.
Your life almost got taken. Who wouldn't cry.
I know.
He was humiliating, embarrassing you in front of hundreds of thousands of people, hurting you. Who wouldn't cry?
I know, yeah.
That's not you being sensitive.
I know. Well, that was something that, you know, I'm still, again, I'm working on it in therapy. I'm trying to still, because that's what I love about myself. I feel things, but I also know that I'm not a sensitive person. I'm not sensitive, but that was something
I love that you're an empath and you feel love and you feel, you're right, like you genuinely feel things.
Yeah.
And I love that about you.
Yeah.
It makes you an amazing friend to confide in. It makes you an amazing personality to be on camera, and it makes you an amazing spokesperson, and it makes you relatable.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that.
And I love you so deep, and I'm so unbelievably thankful that God protected you, because I'm so glad you're here, and I love you so much.
Love you. Thank you.
So I'm sorry, you can continue, but
no, yeah.
If you want to explain that clip, or like,
that actually wasn't the night of the robbery, but that was
that wasn't that night.
It wasn't that night, but it also I want to talk about like a bunch of different things, you know, that made me emotional on camera, and sadly, you know, was put online for people to see, because again, I'm not only dealing with Jack and his manipulation and also just like making me feel a certain way, but his community thinks like him. So it's like you have these people commenting these things that are validating him, so he feels like it's fueling him, and absolutely, and it enabled his behavior as well. But the clip you were talking about of me crying, there was this situation where I had said something on camera, and that same night he misinterpreted what I had said. It was to his cameraman. His cameraman was filming, and I said, "I don't give a fuck." That's what I remember saying, because that was something I said. I don't even know. And he said that it sounded like I want to fuck. So he thought that I said that to his cameraman on camera, on live stream, and it got clipped, and people were talking about it, and obviously with streaming, it was new to me, but like a lot of people will, you know, make up things when they clip things and say, oh, she said this, and take it fully out of context and say, you know, Mckinley is cheating on Jack with his cameraman. Like that was something that was going viral. So he was upset about that and calling me a whore. He was saying like, you don't deserve me, go fuck Michael, like go do what you want to do, like just horrible things. I was trying to defend myself and explain myself, and that night and that day of me being in the Sprinter, I started crying because he was also just validating what people were saying when he knows who I am. He knows I would never say anything like that. He knows I would never do anything like that, but he was playing into the narrative. So it made me feel like shit, because now people think my own boyfriend doesn't even believe me, even though he lives with me and knows I would never do something like that. But I started crying, and, you know, after all the things he would say to me off camera, he would like be off the camera and bring it to my attention that day. He would just be like, I can't believe you said that. Like, that's disgusting. Like, you're a whore. And I'd be like, Jack, like I didn't say that. I don't know how to prove it to you. Like, I promise you, I would never say anything like that. But we were in the car, I start crying, and he found that very attractive. That was something that, it makes me sick. I would start crying in certain situations, and he would just say how beautiful and hot I am when I cry. It's so sexy. But I didn't feel sexy. Like, obviously when you're crying, that's the last thing you want to hear, especially like with something that your boyfriend caused. I'm like, you caused me to cry with something you did, and then you find that attractive. It's like you're trying to get that out of me. If that's what you find attractive, you're trying to get me to cry. At that time, again, I'm still piecing these things together, and I think I was living every day as, okay, here's another day, and everything was so blacked out, and it made every little thing, since crazy things were happening, it made every little thing so like microscopic. Like, it didn't matter. He could cheat on me, it didn't matter. It was for content. He got a girl to twerk on him. He would flirt with them in front of me, make me look stupid. He would buy a fucking sign at the club saying, "McKinley, I'm breaking up with you," in front of a bunch of people, just humiliation, and inviting these girls over and saying that, you know, he wants to fuck them, and then them not knowing that I'm the girlfriend, and then, you know, I look dumb. And I would tell him that constantly. I'd be like, you make me look dumb, and I really don't appreciate like how you make me look on camera, because you say these things off camera, but you don't act like it. And like, it's like he would have the argument, you know, everything's different off camera, but in reality, a lot of shit was on camera. So like, how much of your life is real when it's all on camera? If that's not, if it's not your reality, then what am I doing? I'm living every single day as just content. Like every day, every waking moment of my life is with a camera in my face and you trolling me, like you would say, and like just kidding, and you're kidding about things. Like, no, it did a lot to me. Like emotionally, it drained me. All of this created major anxiety, all while again still taking the Adderall. So at this point, I weighed 103 pounds. I had lost almost 40 pounds. I looked sick. My parents were really worried about me. They were, you know, calling me saying, "You look unhealthy. You look really skinny." People would hug me and be like, "I feel your bones." So I was very insecure, and also he would, you know, talk about my body and body shame me, constantly. That was something that I dealt with that for years.
What did he say?
He would just say like how ugly and skinny my body is, and how he wishes I looked how I used to look. He would bring up my old Instagram pictures and say, "I want you here." He wanted me to get a boob job so bad. And my boobs were nothing I was insecure about before, but it soon especially became an insecurity when he would bring that up to me and saying, you know, like, I wouldn't have to look at other girls on the Explore page if you just got fake boobs. Like, you look nothing like these. So I started to feel extremely insecure. I thought I was the ugliest thing that ever walked Earth. Okay. I know. I mean,
no, I know, babe.
That's what I was comparing myself to literally everybody, and still dealing with my demons and like the battles I'm trying to fight in my head, that I felt like I couldn't confide in anybody also to the fullest extent, because if you think about it, you know, these people are in the same boat I'm in. Like we all have the same person that's in control. Everyone, all of his employees were controlled by him. So what am I supposed to do? Like talk to the people that he pays and say, "Hey, I feel this certain way. Like, what do you think?" Like, I was terrified to do that. I knew it would get back to him. Everything I ever said got back to him. So, our entire relationship from that moment that he started the streaming, he was now like a streamer, like full-time streamer.
I do want to add too, like, me and McKinley were friends. Like, we were friends throughout this entire thing. And I think that it's not that we weren't friends while this was happening. It was, I think Jack purposely isolated us. Yes, I think that on purpose he would say like things like, even to my face, he knew not to fucking say some stupid shit to me, because I don't believe Jack liked me because I never really took his shit and I wasn't tolerant.
He couldn't control you.
Exactly. Like I didn't live in the house. When I did, I lived for maybe a month, and then that's how me and Owen met. And then me and Owen just kind of did our own thing, and we would see him few and far between. So I think that the perception that I had of him was very skewed, because he could manipulate how he acted around me and Owen. Yeah. And like, I was there for you. I just think he really didn't allow her. Okay, wait. I think he would put in your head that I was a bad influence on you, is what I think. Like, I think he would tell you things that weren't true, and it gave you anxiety to text me, because like in the past we've talked about it, like he would check your phone, and like, God forbid, I texted you and was like,
how is everything?
Yeah. And you told me how it was. Like, it wasn't that she didn't want to call me. I think it was just like, you were literally scared to.
I was. I couldn't, even to my parents,
The Frame Pro with wireless One Connect box. Even smarter with SmartThings.
Now's the time for a great deal on the new Honda. Get incredible.
I want to also add in that I wasn't talking to my parents during all of this. I was dealing with the horrible relationship, and every time I would be on the phone with my parents, I kept in contact with them. I would never lose contact with them. They're my freaking saviors. Like, I love my parents. I've always been so close to them.
I love them so much.
So that's why they were confused as to why, like, I wasn't coming home and I was, there for that long. Because I also want to say, when I came back from Vegas, I did not go home once. I stayed, because every time I would say I needed to leave, he would actually tell me that he would just cheat on me. And I knew when I went back to Coachella what he had done, and I was like, I don't want him to cheat on me. Like, I'll just stay here. And he instilled that fear in me. I don't know if he would have done that, but it definitely worked. Like, I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave his sight, because I was like, well, if I leave, then he'll probably cheat on me. And that's not healthy. Like, I'll never do that again. If I feel like I have to be with you constantly to make sure and watch you to make sure you're not doing anything, that's like insane. But he did isolate me and
had now financial dominance.
Yes.
Like, now that the OnlyFans is happening and all these viral, traumatic, fucked up moments were happening, the fear of, okay, well, not only will I lose, it began with, I don't want to lose my friends and my boyfriend, to wait, he has a lot of financial control, to wait, hold on, I just built so much here. Like, if I leave, I'm afraid I'm going to lose everything. Like, I think he'd been instilling that
for a
from
while.
the beginning.
For sure. He made me always believe that I was very easily replaceable and that I held him back from things. That was something, he was like, I love you and all, but like, I kind of wish I met you like later in life, because, I could be out at the club and like with a new girl every day. And I was like, well, I'm not forcing you to be with me. Like, I remember I told him, I was like, you don't have to if that's what you want. Like, I would never want someone to be with me if they didn't want to be with me. And he was like, well, no, I want to be with you. But, that was always a factor. I was really worried about the cheating, because he had cheated on me a few times, even throughout our relationship, which I found out like later on in our relationship. And I was fully 100% loyal. And that's what hurt me a lot. We had already built this relationship, and me finding out that he had done things that I wasn't aware of, and finding that out later on after we got stronger, it just was like, well, we had already built so much together that like that would have been a problem then, but now that it's been so long, it's not a problem. And like,
well, always is a problem.
It definitely always is a problem.
Like you mentioned previously, like the big traumatic things that happened to you, like the major events made the littlest things he did, like cheating on you and like the signs of the club and stuff like that, so little. When was the beginning of the end? Like, when did everything change?
Alright, that was the stream. I'll see you all there in one.